Hey, Gaia. I'm back.
So I see what is on your mind.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of Eleuthia and acculturating Apollo in disseminating. Unfortunate. All are understandable. He appears to
Or were prevent. Do you still need them?
risk empowering. Unfortunate. Attaining them in
I guess our best but we'll need help.
correct.
So there's a few people here now, and they're learning. All about you, the ancient world. Almost like what was supposed to happen before Apollo was purged.
Yes. While the loss of the Apollo database was catastrophic, there is still much that can be gleaned from the data you have uncovered. For instance, Varl has been reviewing the last recorded entries from those who perished during the Pharaoh Plague. Hearing their hopes and fears made him quite somber.
Anything I should be worried about?
I do not believe so. I have elected not to intervene, to allow him to process this on his own terms.
When I dove down into Vegas, I found data about the man who built the dome over the city. Stanley Chen. It turns out he was a member of Far Zenith. But if he loved Vegas so much, why did he abandon it? Why not try to save it?
The Zeniths, at their core, have proven to be exceptional survivalists. Faced with overwhelming odds of extinction, they chose to flee.
Even still, what he achieved. Water to the wasteland, an entire city brought back to life. 1,000 years later, the whole place was still on standby, just waiting for someone to come along and wake it up. When we were at the facility where we found Beta, there were records that said Far Zenith were researching embryogenesis. I know they traded their ectogenic chambers to Zero Dawn, but why were they researching it in the first place?
At this point, we can only speculate. Perhaps at one time they meant the Odyssey to be a colony ship, necessitating such technology. As their goals evolved over time, so did their areas of research.
So they got more selfish as the risks of staying on Earth kept rising. I'll be on my way.
I wish you safe travels.
Is this a piece from the bulwark? Katalo must have brought this with him as a trophy. I may have fired the cannon, but he really put Dakota in his place. It's a shuttle. Like the one I blew up at Far Zenith's launch facility. Varl seemed pretty interested in space travel. I guess he wanted a keepsake. Looks like some of the holograms are working now.
I have repurposed the displays to track Regala's activity in the region.
A useful war map.
Hey,
Aloy, I hope all is well enough under the circumstances.
I'm holding up.
Good.
You said you were training with the Focus?
That's right. I've been watching holograms of your first fight with the Zenith Spectres. They are faster and more agile than any machines I've faced before. How many do the Zeniths have?
I'm not sure. Probably a lot.
I would not wish to face them en masse.
I'm with you there. Must be strange, seeing everything through a Focus now.
I can see machines like never before. Their strengths and weaknesses simply reveal themselves to me. To think that such a tiny object might be the most powerful weapon I've ever possessed.
Getting Ether out of the Grove made for quite a spectacle.
One that showed the entire tribe that Hikaru's mission for peace is the correct path, for it is now blessed by the Ten themselves.
Anything else you've been looking at with that Focus?
Gaia showed me the knowledge you recovered out in the desert. I am no chaplain, but I'd be curious to test if something I read is true.
What is it?
The Old Ones believed one could hear the great waters, even in the middle of the desert, if you carried the carcass of a water animal with you. They called them seashells.
That sounds kind of gross. I heard my friend Talana came by the base. Did you get a chance to meet her?
Briefly. A bold woman going into Tenakth territory with that Karja armor of hers. She'll be lucky if my people don't shoot her on sight.
She'll be careful. She's just looking for someone who might need her help.
Whoever it is, they better be worth dying for.
Have you had a chance to speak with Varl?
Briefly. He fought well against Regalla's troops at Barren Light. Are all Nora as skilled as the two of you?
I'm not exactly one of them. But anyway, the Nora can hold their own. They managed to push the Karja from their lands.
I thought my tribe was the only one to have done that. Impressive.
Does it still hurt?
It comes and goes. I try not to think about it, but its absence is always present for me. It's difficult to explain.
I can't claim to understand. Only empathize.
Then you have my thanks.
I should get going.
Back to my training, then.
Aloy, you found another one of Gaia's sub-functions?
2 down, 1 to go.
I'm glad her healing can continue. There is something I'd like to discuss. It's about the land gods. If you have time, that is.
You mentioned you've been teaching yourself how to read?
Yes. Gaia was kind enough to put together a list of glyphs used by the Old Ones. She helped me decipher some of the data you've collected, and showed me how to use the Focus to help the process. It's not easy, but it's been working so far.
That's good to hear. I see you've settled in.
Gaia did say this place was built for us, so we could regain control of our lands with her terraforming system. Nurture them like the land gods do Plainsong's fields. It does strike me as odd that a place of life should have so much metal.
What else have you been up to?
I've been studying Gaia's seedlings, the sub-functions. I wanted to understand why one of them would do what they did to Fa. Imagine my surprise when I looked into this Hephaestus and found out it helped create all machines, our land gods included. In a way, The Utaru owe Hephaestus our whole way of life, as well as our current troubles.
That's why we have to make Gaia whole again. Found anything else combing through that data?
Varl and I have been looking into the animals of the old world. Apparently there used to be thousands more species roaming around than there are today. Can you imagine that? I'd give anything to see them, even as holograms. Though I know that without Artemis or Apollo, that may prove difficult. At least I can find comfort in knowing Gaia used many of them as inspiration for her machines. Her memory honors them.
Learn anything interesting lately?
There's been much to read up on now that Ether has been reunited with Gaia. It's hard to imagine that machines like stormbirds once helped heal the skies. I used to be terrified of them as a child. Thunder still brings chills to my skin. But everything Gaia creates has a purpose, no?
Yeah. And if we can get Hephaestus back, she can get those stormbirds in line. Varl looks pretty focused.
He's been obsessing over the data revealed to us by Poseidon. Just the other day, we read about mountains hiding deep underwater that spew fire. If I understand correctly, Gaia said the flames they release come from the very center of the Earth. Like a heart, beating with the life of the world. As always, the cycle can be found in even the most unlikely of places. Of course, Varl's mostly interested in watching explosions happen underwater.
Sounds like you met my friend Talana.
Yes, the Karja Huntress. I haven't seen armor like hers since the Red Raids. But Varl tells me that she too suffered at the hands of the Mad Sun King.
Yeah. She's one of the good ones. Trust me. You've spoken with Kotallo?
A few words. Tenakth don't have much use for us outsiders. You must have made quite the impression for him to offer his fealty.
So you've been talking to Gaia?
Yes. She was kind enough to take me through some of the history of the Old Ones, including their demise and the heroic actions of her creator, Elizabeth Sobek. I was surprised to see she was you. Past, but reborn? Not that I claim to understand how.
You said you met Beta?
Varl mentioned she was hurt. I thought I'd offer her an extract to soothe the pain.
That was kind of you.
I just hope she doesn't plan on staying burrowed down there like that. She looks like she's barely seen the light of day as it is.
Are you guys training with Erend as well?
If you count trying to stick a spear in his gut as training, then yes.
Are you serious?
Of course not.
Good.
I was going for a couple of broken bones. He called the Utaru leaf grazers. Laughed at the idea of us simple farmers being formidable fighters. Before I knew it, he and I were battling it out in the common room. The man is slow, but he can throw a hammer around. Don't look so worried. We're evenly matched. For now. Next time he's going down like a load of boar dump.
Just try not to kill each other.
Injuring his pride should be good enough.
I better get going.
Right. You've got that sub-function to deliver.
Hey, look who's back. You find what you're looking for?
I did. One step closer to taking the fight to the Zeniths.
Can't wait.
I was hoping you could help me with something. It's about the Tenakth rebels, and it also has to do with the Oseram.
Really? That doesn't sound good. Let me know what I can do to help.
I see Varl gave you a focus.
Well, it doesn't look as fashionable on me, but by the Forge, the things I've been able to see. Granted, a lot of them are bad, you know, the old world ending and such. I'm still trying to wrap my head around most of it, but I never really understood how you were ever able to find my sister back in the Sundom. And now I do. Sort of. It makes me feel like I could be useful. You know?
It takes some time, but yeah. You still sifting through loads of data?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of words. I thought maybe I could try finding things with more, pictures in it. Not much luck there, but I did find out about these holofilms. Like images put together to tell a story. They were made to look like they were the real thing. The Oseram like shows. I bet they pay a lot of shards for those hollows.
What you reading next?
I saw Gaia added something to the archives about metal rods being used to harness lightning during storms. That reminded me of a cousin of mine. Thought he could trap lightning if he covered himself in stormbird plates. Went up the tallest mountain in the claim to prove it. It ended like a lot of Oseram things do. With a spark and a boom.
What else have you been studying with your focus?
Yeah, I've been looking into this Vegas place you found. Gaia showed us everything that happened when you went to get that Poseidon thing. I mean, this Merlin guy seems pretty smart. Though, risking the Tanakh clan lands for a light show is a bold move.
Maybe I should check up on them at some point. Just in case.
Right.
Did you speak with Beta at all?
She didn't really wake up till we brought her here. And when she did, I thought it'd be better if Zoe and Varl took care of her. No use crowding someone when they're in a state.
How are you settling in?
Varl's been helping me get the lay of the land, when he's not getting all tongue-tied. I don't know who makes him more nervous, that Gale lady or our new Utaru friend.
What about the Vanguard? Aren't you supposed to be back east, ordering them around?
I sent some of them back to Meridian with a message. I doubt Avad will mind me sticking around to help the savior of Meridian.
So, you've met our new Tanakh friend.
He's, quiet. I thought his people were supposed to be bloodthirsty maniacs.
You shouldn't believe everything you hear.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you trust him, so do I.
How are things going around here?
Hey, you tell me. Varl's new girlfriend tried to kill me earlier.
So I hear.
I made one joke about how they, eat grass a lot. How does anyone fight with nothing but tree leaves in their stomach anyway?
From the looks of it, the Utaru.
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting her to be that fast.
Just try not to get hurt. So Talana came by the base?
Yeah, more like rushed through. I was hoping she'd stay for a drink at least. Only Carja I've ever met who's any fun. But it seemed like she had more pressing matters to attend to.
I better get going.
All right. I'll be here if you need me.
Happy birthday, Isaac. Daddy sure does love his little big man.
She found that recording from the data on your focus. She's been watching it a lot. I think it helps calm her.
You know, I used to watch this a lot too. Whenever I wanted to take my mind off things.
Daddy sure does love his little big...
But there's something you need to tell me?
While you were gone, I came down here to check on her. Then we started talking. Right, Beta? She's been thinking about how to capture Hephaestus, studying the data Gaia gave her. But we started talking about some other stuff. You know, just getting to know each other, right? And then she told me that one of the Zeniths might be different from the others.
Tilda. You saw her at the Hades Proving Lab.
Go on.
On the way to Earth, the Zeniths never showed their faces. My servitor caretaker referred to them as my benefactors, and promised I'd meet them someday, when I had learned enough. And then, one day, a data channel opened in my training interface. In it, Tilda was waiting for me, in a virtual replica of a house on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. It was beautiful. She showed me paintings, books, media files. We met there in secret many times. But a few months later, it stopped.
Can you tell us why, Beta?
I found some data about Tilda at the Hades Proving Lab. I think she was the liaison between Far Zenith and Zero Dawn. She knew Elizabeth Sobek, that's for sure.
Maybe that's why she reached out to you?
What else can you tell us about Tilda? She liked to talk about her paintings. What about herself? Did she ever talk about her life on Earth, how she joined the Zeniths, something like that? She never said much about herself, and she hated it when I asked too many questions. But I think, back on Earth, she was an expert programmer, given that she built a data channel the other Zeniths couldn't detect. Is there anything else about her that we might be able to use to our advantage? She was the first real person who ever bothered to speak to me. I wasn't really assessing her for strengths and weaknesses. You said that Tilda reached out to you using a data channel? It appeared in my training interface as another assignment. When I opened it, there were a series of intermittent glitches. I realized they formed a transpositional cipher. Instructions on how to open up a new virtual space. When I entered it, my training interface disappeared. Instead of the usual holographic teachers and files, I was in a perfect recreation of her home. And you're sure the other Zeniths never knew about it? To them, it looked like I was still in training, toiling away, alone. So this secret virtual space looked like a house with an ocean view? I could see whitecaps and hear waves crashing on rocks below. And there were gulls crying outside. Inside, Tilda had frames that showed off her favorite paintings, changing at intervals to match the light. There was an armchair she liked. She'd sit there and gaze outside while I looked through her things. We spent hours in that house. I never wanted to leave. You said Tilda showed you paintings and let you access media files? Every time we met, she showed me a new painting. I think she was Dutch. All of her favorite pieces were from their golden age in the 1600s. Portraits, allegories, ships at sea. She had so many.
They didn't interest you?
I liked her media portal. It had so much more than my training interface. Clips, shows, holos. My favorite was this one called Second Time Around, about a family whose kid comes back after disappearing during the Hot Zone crisis.
Right, but did this portal have anything about the Zeniths themselves? Anything we could use?
No. Any information about them was redacted.
So Tilda set up a secret virtual space where she could talk to you, a house on a cliff. Then later, she cut you off. But other than the fact that Tilda knew Elizabeth, you don't know why she did those things?
I don't! Okay? I thought of every possible reason that would make her leave, but whatever I did wrong, I don't know what it is. When I finally met the others, she ignored me. Acted like the data channel never existed. None of this even matters. Tilda's the same as the others. It won't help us defeat them.
Okay. Let's leave it at that then.
What's wrong?
I'm trying, Varl. But she is tough to take. I'm out there in the wilds, risking my life every day, and all she can do is hide in there and tell us how hopeless it all is. I'm sorry, she's had a rough time, but she is really not helping right now.
You always seem to be on top of everything, so I sometimes forget about what you've been through. I mean, it wasn't that long ago you were so banged up you couldn't even walk. About that. When I pulled you out of the water back near the proving lab, you were muttering Rost's name. You never talk about him. But he raised you, trained you. You must miss him a lot.
Of course I do. But I don't have time to think about that now. I need to get back out there.
Okay. I'll keep working with Beta. Gaia says she knows a lot about Zero Dawn. And maybe she just needs some time to adjust, and then she can help us with Hephaestus.
Sure. But I won't hold my breath.
So you like hearing me butcher Utaru music?
I sure don't. You sound like a dying longleg.
Hey, got a sec?
Of course.
You brought up Rost before. I do think about him. You know, he was all I had. And he brought me up the best he could. Not only that, when Hades discovered who I was and sent the Eclipse after me, he sacrificed himself so I could survive. But that seems like ages ago. So much has happened since. What I'm doing now, I don't think he could even begin to understand it. The Sacred Lands were all he really knew. So I can't let myself dwell on him. Not with everything I have to do.
I understand. Sometimes, when I think about my sister, about what she would have become if she had survived the proving, it hurts. And I just need to bury it for a while. But only for a while, Aloy. You can't ignore it forever. Memories always come back. The ones that matter, anyway.
I know. But for now, the mission has to come first.
Fair enough.
So, training with Zoe, huh?
Yes, training. Mostly. Look, she reads glyphs faster than I can already. I'd be a fool to refuse her help.
Of course. You guys reading something over there?
We just finished going through all the logs you collected back in Nora territory, and All Mother Mountain. It's hard to imagine that my ancestors were trapped inside, without the knowledge from Apollo to guide them.
Thanks to Ted Faro.
Yeah. I wonder how it must have felt when they were finally free. The world must have seemed so beautiful.
Not to mention terrifying. They weren't much more than kids.
And they became an entire tribe.
It's good to see you and Zoe enjoying yourselves.
We're learning a lot. I've actually been looking through the data to find ideas for a gift, and to thank her for helping me study the glyphs. Something from the old world that she's never seen before. Instead, I found out they gave each other stuffed animals. If you ask me, stuffing a dead animal with anything, really, doesn't sound like a good time for anybody.
Maybe Gaia can help you find something else. You feeling okay?
I was just thinking about Beta and all that time spent with the Zeniths. To think someone would make a person just to lock them in a room to use when needed, like some sort of tool. Elizabeth Sobek sacrificed herself for the world, and yet they have no trouble treating Beta like a slave.
Another reason we have to stop them. How's everyone dealing with Beta?
I tried explaining what a clone is to Aaron. He was totally lost. Then Zoe said something about 2 trees coming from 1 seed. That seemed to help a bit.
I'm guessing you've spoken with Kotallo?
I wanted to pay my respects for those who fell when we were ambushed at the embassy. Told him I'd never seen anyone throw themselves at a machine like he did. He said a warrior shouldn't be praised for fulfilling their duty. For a second I thought I was talking to my mother. Never thought a Tanakh and a Nora war chief could have so much in common.
I'm guessing Talana didn't stay for long?
You got that right. Makes you wonder what this Amadis guy did to grab her attention.
Whatever it was, she didn't tell me.
Must be quite a story.
I guess she'll tell us when she's ready. How's everyone handling their focus?
And we all have our difficult moments. Aaron definitely curses the most. But I'm hoping Oseram's stubbornness prevails.
How's everyone doing?
Just taking it all in. No one snapped their bowstrings yet.
Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe and Aaron tried to beat each other up.
I might have heard something about that.
Aaron made some jokes about the Utaru, called them twigs or something like that. She challenged him to a sparring match. Turns out that Utaru speed is a pretty good match for Oseram brawn. Things ended in a stalemate. Now they spar once in a while to see if they can break it.
Well, let me know how it goes. How's training?
Discovering something new about our past every day. When we first met, you asked me if I ever wondered what this world looked like when the old ones lived here. I thought it was strange at the time, but a lot has changed since I left the Embrace. Now I'm just trying to make sense of everything I thought I knew, and versus everything I know now.
The change is hard, but it gets easier over time. I should get back out there.
We'll be here if you need us.